Morning, everybody. It is February 26th, 8:10 a.m. Welcome to my channel. Now, yesterday, the markets opened up and drove lower again. So that's like been the theme, like open up, drive lower. Now, pull back a little bit and then went hit lows and then it recovered. Now, yesterday, when when you have 3 consecutive days of selling, all right, where they just drive lower and drive lower and drive lower, and you hit the expected move for the day, the 100-day moving average you're playing with, and big gamma levels, you're going to get a bounce. And I was waiting there, almost went long, didn't. I mean, it would have been a monster trade, but didn't. But however, based on those stats, I didn't think there was much more downside. So that's why we bounced. Now, in in a correction, this you tend to get these bounces. So who knows if this bounce gets sold into today, or if we take a little break, don't know. That being said, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use volume profile, market profile to find structure in the markets, along with gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the week, the month, the week, the previous day. As I'm sorry, just blank there. And I use market internals. That just tells you how strong and what's the market capable of. Now, the market's been pretty weak as of late, specifically tech. But there's some meta news that might have changed that because Microsoft said they were not investing in data centers and they corrected that, and now Meta's saying they were going to do, I think, a $200 billion investment in data centers. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Well, hopefully, you can join me every day. I'll give you the recap, the story of the markets, the leaders and the laggards, the market news, the economic calendar. Of course, you have NVDA earnings after the close, which is huge. Huge earnings day after the close. That will really shape probably where markets go from here. It's pretty big earnings. Okay. And you can always follow me on X at Gonzo719, on TikTok, Gonzo719Trader. Of course, my new Discord server, Confluence Trading. You can check that out at my YouTube homepage. Today, hopefully, feel a little better and can go live because I miss going live. So I'll try to do that today. All right, so come join me. Now, let's get right into futures watch list and see what's moving markets. All right, silver. Silver's up 8.82. Nasdaq's up 0.68. ES up 0.46. Russell up 0.41. 42. Gold's up 0.25. Dow's up 0.23. The dollar's up 0.22. 30-year bonds being bought up 0.13. 10-year yields down 0.20. Crude down 0.25. Crude has definitely finally broken that $70 a barrel level. Bitcoin broke that 90K level. They are down 0.41. VIX is down 2.52. It's at almost a 19 VIX. Ethereum's down 2.53. That's what's going on in futures. Let's move on to the Mag 7 Plus here. NVIDIA broke that 130 key level. Right, it's kind of hovering around there. That's not a surprise. That was a pretty big negative gamma level. And once that got taken out yesterday, it took the market down with it. But then we went right back up to it. So That makes sense why that NVIDIA is hanging around there, but it's up 2.44%. Broadcom's up 2.40. Tesla's up 1.85. AMD's up 1.29. Meta's up 0.97. Amazon up 0.87. So a lot of these bouncing. Coinbase up 0.76. Google up 0.70. GE is up 0.64. Microsoft up 0.42. Boeing up 0.41. JP Morgan up 0.23. Eli Lilly is flat. And Apple is the only laggard, down 0.42. Moving on to the top sectors here. Let's look at Snowflake. Snowflake reports earnings after the close. They're up 2.62%. Salesforce reports as well. They're up 2.61%. Home Depot already reported earnings. They're up 1.35. I believe Lowe's reported um, earnings before the market opened today. All right. Qualcomm's up 0.37. Laggards, Procter and Gamble down 0.31, Walmart down 0.40, United Healthcare down 0.40, PepsiCo down 0.42, Johnson and Johnson 0.52. Now that makes sense because those particular stocks, not United Healthcare, but Walmart, PepsiCo, Johnson and Johnson, specifically Johnson and Johnson and PepsiCo, really ripped the staples. Really, the stocks ripped up because of the fear. So they're probably, I mean, they're not down much, but they're probably getting maybe a little profit taken on this bounce. Let's go to the more granular list here and see who's leading here. Super Microcomputers, I believe they did their financials in line with what I believe the Nasdaq exchange needs. So they're up 21.72%. Pretty crazy. Workday's up 10.51. I think that's Intuit is up 8.17. Vertiv up 7.45. Now that could be because of what Meta said about that $200 billion in data centers is making semis and all that fly today. NRG up 6.65. Um, Here's another, I believe, energy supplying energy VST. I was looking to get into on a deeper pullback. That's up 5.25. Bob is up 4.77. Another one, GE Vernova, is another one I've been looking at. That's up 4.51. SoundHouse up 3.71. GM up 3.62. We'll end with the three percenters. Arista Networks down, I mean, up 3.57. There's Lowe's. They must have had a good earnings. They're up 3.34. And For Solar is up 3.11. Let's look at laggards today. Not a lot of them. Lucid down 4.21, and then there's really not a lot of laggards here. Not even worth talking about. Okay, that wraps up that. Let's move on to sectors, and you can clearly see semiconductors leading the pack, up 1.45%. Technology encompasses semis, so that's up 0.93. Discretionary is up 0.77. Industrials up 0.36. Utilities up 0.28. Basic materials, financials, and the only laggard today is a little bit of healthcare and Staples. Staples down 0.18, but Staples just has had a run every day of selling. The staples were going up. Okay, rotation. All right, now we can move on to the economic calendar here. Let's look at that together. All right, so today, 7 a.m. already happened. The MBA 30-year mortgage rate, previous 6.93, actual 6.88. Okay, that makes sense. The 10-year yield is going down. Mortgage rate should be going down. Fed Barkin speaks at 8:30 a.m. Then at 10 a.m. you have new home sales. New home sales sometimes can maybe spark a little bit of a move. Not really, but I'll have that my alarm set to check that out. I mean, crude inventories at 10:30. Fed Bostic speaking at 12. Okay, that is your economic calendar. Now we go to earnings. Earnings calendar here. So what was that? Yesterday after the close, you had a Kava, AMC, Lucid, Instacart, Lemonade, Workday, Intuit, right? Before the open today, Lowe's, NRG, Advanced Auto Parts, Stellantis. That's it right now. Big ones today after the close. NVDA, Snowflake, OpenAI. Is it OpenAI? I believe it is. But this AI stock, Salesforce, Marathon. So big ones after the close today. I mean, huge is NVIDIA, right? Now, before the open, that Vistra Energy tomorrow, Norwegian Cruise Lines, TD Bank. That's about it. Okay. Now we'll get back to news. Let's go to news. All right, let's see. NVIDIA shock. Shares rose. Semiconductor giant is tipped to post overall fourth quarter revenue of 38.25 billion. All right, let's see here. For the first quarter, the company is expected to guide for the top line total of 42.26 billion. All right, supermarket computers surge in pre-market trading after the company filed its delayed financial reports. The filings will keep the group compliant with Nasdaq index requirements. Lowe's reported fourth quarter adjusted earnings per share that topped consensus estimates. Workday shares surged more than 12% after the AI-powered. Whoa, what just happened? A surge of buying orders just came in my ear at 8:21. I don't know, something just happened. Um, like I said, all right. So Workday's up. Let's see. Lucid announced that CEO Peter Rawlinson is stepping down. Intuit jumped after TurboTax maker unveiled third quarter revenue that topped estimates. All right, more news. Let's see. GM to increase dividend by 25%, buy back another 6 billion of shares. Amazon eyes new direction for Alexa with AI overhaul. We talked about Lowe's. Intuit we just talked about. Let's see here. Kava, the company on Tuesday, forecasts annual same-store sales growth relatively below estimates as weak demand for the dining out of the United States forces restaurants to take a cautious stance on their expectations for the year. It expects annual same restaurant sales to rise 6 to 8% compared with the average analyst estimate of 8.1% rise. Okay. First Solar, the solar panel maker, forecasts higher current year sales and posted a rise in fourth quarter profit on Tuesday. Company reported a net income of 393 million for the quarter ended December 31st, up about 13% from last year. Let's see, Stellantis, the automaker, said it would return to revenue growth and positive cash generation in 2025 as it tries to recover from a crisis which engulfed its U.S. business late last year and knocked its shares. Okay. Just trying to see anything that's market moving. So Meta, this is what I want to talk about. Meta, the company is in discussions to construct a new data center campus for its artificial intelligence projects with potential costs exceeding 200 billion. All right. So that's going to spark some semis and energy data center type stocks. Okay. Let's see here. Says NVIDIA benefits from a first mover disadvantage. $3 trillion chip maker is expected to post strong results, even as efficiency gains or uncertainty payouts threaten AI spending. The first tech giant to cut back might take a valuation hit while losing access to scarce chips and a shot at a breakthrough. FOMO is a delicate balance. All right. All right. That's about it for that news. Now the juice. Let's see if because I just heard large orders hitting the tape, and I'm not sure why. Let's see. Okay. Well, came out at 820. Zelensky, Ukraine needs to know what it can count on from the U.S. The deal to be signed at ministerial level. No ratification needed. Let's see. Minerals deal with the U.S.'s framework agreement with further agreement to set up the fund to follow. Zelensky, I want to discuss with Trump the possibility to use Russia's frozen assets for mining resources development. All right. Zelensky, I can't yet confirm Washington trip on Friday. Terms are working out. All right. I don't really see. That's the only news that was coming out around then. Like I said, the markets definitely went higher on whatever that. I don't know if that was it. Let's look at upgrades, downgrades real quick. All right, so American Airlines upgraded, Coupang upgraded, Home Depot upgraded from a reduced to hold, Intuit upgraded, Lumen Technologies upgraded, and that's about it. All right, let's look at downgrades real quick, and then we'll get into daily charts. Downgraded is Donut. D Nut. Krispy Kreme is downgraded. Lucid downgraded. Okay, we're gonna end there. We're gonna end there. We're gonna go to daily charts. Let's check those out. I could show you those levels that I was talking about. All right, let's look at daily charts here. Okay, so remember I had that fib on, right? From here all the way to here, right? And let's look at the retracement. We went all the way down yesterday, almost to 61.8, or actually right there, right at the 61.8, right? These Fibonacci levels sometimes are like, whoa, right? So that was right around five. Let's call it 590. Okay, and 590, if you look across, was a swing low here and was support here. Okay, so pretty big level, right? We breached the 100-day moving average and broke this trend line. All right, if you want to see that trend line, it goes all the way back to um, August 5th, 2024. Hit this swing low, and then we breached it, but then got bought up, right? And where did we close? Right at the 50% retracement, right at about 595. Okay, now if you look, let me see if I can just show you this. I'll show you this real quickly. Let's show you this. By QQQ. Here we go. All right, so if we look at what happened yesterday, okay, this is the QQQ and the SPY. So this is where I was like, okay, if this goes here, the QQQ, and SPY goes here, notice the wick in both, right? That happened because these large negative gamma levels, right? If this really broke, this should rip down, right? Because we're negative gamma. Negative gamma causes volatility both ways. So once you do this, right? So a couple things here. They had large negative gamma exposure here, 510 and 590 in the SPY. So just like a couple things. One, they were big levels there. Previous weekly lows, like I said, the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement, the trend line, the 100-day move. There's so much, and we just sold off 3 days in a row. Okay, so I really was interested in this, and this was extended. You can see the expected move was right here. We also put that in too. Right, we filled the expected move, so it was begging for a bounce. And in ES, which would equate to SPY, I was really contemplating, like saying here, these are 15-minute candles of getting long. I almost very close to doing it, but I was like, you know what? And then I just was like, nah, you know what? And it never would have hit where I think it was going to enter somewhere in here. It would have never even came close and ripped all the way up, right? That was kind of like, I'm going to probably put that into one of my trading setups going forward. Just waiting for this extension. I'll probably call it like an extended move reversal. So I just wanted to show you guys the reasons why, you know, we um, we bounced. It's not, for nothing here. Now, even if I switch over my drawings here to go to the clean, you can see the gamma levels. Here's the gamma levels, right? Right there, 590. Boom. And 595 was a big one. So that's why when we hit 595, that was a very large negative gamma level. A lot of exposure there for the dealers and market makers, right? So once you rip that, that's why that move happened down to here. And then boom. If you were short from up here, you're going to definitely take profit at this area, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Let's go back to my trend lines. Okay. So that's what's happened yesterday. All right. Now, where are we at now? 597.50 or 597, let's call it 40. 597.40. We are all the way back at yesterday's open, basically, or the highs of yesterday. It's quite a bounce. Put it this way, we're in the upper portion of yesterday's session. Now remember, when you sell off, sometimes you get these bounces that can definitely get ripped apart, right? So we're coming back to the anchored VWAP for the year, and this just means the average buyer from this year, from this um, beginning of the year, is underwater. Okay, they're underwater, still underwater. So the average buyer. Now let's look at futures. Okay, in futures, you can see rip through the anchor VWAP for the year, 100-day moving average, come all the way down here. Now you came all the way down here to a previous weekly low, which is this one. Okay, people just probably saw that and said, you know what, I'm going to take profit, and new buyers came in. Okay, that combination causes this big wick. All right, that combination causes that big wick. All right, now we're just inside. See, that's why I just said we're inside yesterday, closer to the highs. All right, let's look at Qs. Now the Qs, here's the Fibonacci on the Qs. This is what's interesting. The first day we had this move, right? It was at 38.2%. The second day was at 50%. Yesterday we blew through 61.8 all the way down to here. 100-day moving average, right? Broke this trend line. Broke it. Never recovered it. The SPY recovered. So I'm going to get rid of this. Actually, you know what? Let me keep it on there. Keep it on there. All right. So, and then look, this is previous 2 weeks in a row was lows right here. So, yeah, people probably were like, you know what? Support here, support here. Let me take some profits, right? And then you closed down here. So the Nasdaq closed weaker. The Nasdaq closed weaker than the S&P. Didn't, because tech was weak yesterday. Okay, so that's what's going on there. So we ripped past the 61.8, right? Now where are we at now? 517.80. 517.80. You are at the upper third of yesterday's highs. Back over this trend line. Back over to 61.8. Not quite as high as the SPY and the ES, right? Because of that tech weakness. Now you have NVDA earnings too. Okay, I think that also played a part in people didn't want to be caught holding the bag if NVIDIA destroys earnings and just rips, right? You don't want to be holding shorts. Okay, it's another reason. It's always a story going on. All right, let's look at the NASDAQ futures. So you can see yesterday pulled right down where? To buy a previous week's lows. Okay, 100-day moving average battling it right now. Still under the year-to-date VWAP. Okay, so that's the NASDAQ. All right, hopefully all that made sense with the gammas. Just to show you the gamma levels on the Qs, to show you, let's go here. 520 was a big gamma level, and 510 was, I don't know why it's not on my chart right here. Oh, I know why. Actually, let me add that real quick. I'm going to add that real quick. That should be there. All right, let me just, before I add this, I just want to edit something real quick. Give me a second here. Oh, that's fine. There it is, 510. Just wanted to show you with that on there. So 510 hit that large negative gamma level, and boop, there it is. Okay, let's go back to the default, and I don't need to have that on there. Let me get that off. Okay, moving on to that triple head monster. Let's do it. Let's look at that 10-year yield that's been falling. Been talking about this, right? And this is definitely fear moving the bond market. Okay, now look where we just hit. Last year's anchored VWAP. Last year's anchored VWAP starting obviously from last year, the beginning of last year, right here. Okay, that is significant, right? We're under this year's anchor VWAP. Okay, so that means that buyers of bonds are underwater. I'm sorry, sellers of bonds, because this is the inverse to the bond market. Sellers of bonds are underwater. Okay, now this is for last year's anchored VWAP. If you break that, that would mean from the sellers of bonds from last year will be underwater. Then you got your 200-day moving average, right? Remember I said this structure is poor. I expect to at least test the 200-day moving average. Okay, because this is not poor. It's poor structure. All right. So hopefully I put that up. I'm not sure if I did or not. We can go to the dollar. Good old Dixie. See what that's doing. It's still in this wedge. Right? Compressing, compressing, compressing. It's gonna move. Like I said, this is more like a bullish play here, but it's definitely in a downtrend. Okay. Now we go to the VIX, our fear gauge, 30 days out of fear. We are at an 18.79 VIX. That's pretty decent for volatility. Okay, pretty decent for volatility. You can see that wick up yesterday, and then that got, when that dip got bought, boom. Okay, so that's where we're at there at the VIX. Now the volume today is not as strong as it was the last couple of days because of all that selling, but a decent. Okay, I could show you that in a second, and then we'll get into the market profile, volume profile. So let's just show you that volume real quick, right here. So just this percentage is what you need to know. So 104% of volume over the I think I have it as the last 20 days. That's decent volume, right? But the Nasdaq is a little less, 85%. But we've had such high volume the last couple of days, so I still think today should be pretty decent. But all those selling, and then you got the bounce. It's not as hot as it was the last couple of days. That makes sense though. All right, that makes sense. That's your relative volume. Now we're gonna move. We're gonna move back to market profile and volume profile. Alrighty. We also came into a unfilled gap yesterday. I didn't mention that in futures. We partially filled that gap right here. Okay. So let's look at the markets together. And this is your market profile and your volume profile. Okay. Let's go right here. All right, structure wise, that profile is big. All right, very big. All right, now we have our most traded price of the week right here. That is 60.30. So price is hanging out below that. That's a feather in the cap for the bears. Okay. So now, what do we have today? All right, what do we have today? So let's look at this. So we have yesterday's highs, and I just want to show you guys. Actually, let's recap yesterday real quick. Let's recap yesterday. I'm going to show you again. I said this pre-market, and I'm like, how am I not getting a trade set about this? But that's just not my style to trade right off the open. But look again. Here's the overnight VPOC right here, right? Right there, and look, it just ripped. So remember I said longs were here, and I said if we come through here, that we could fall. Now, again, I don't know if we're going to fall like we did yesterday, but that's happened every day. I mean, up here, can't see it. Hold on. I know I'm pointing it out. I think I pointed it out yesterday, but it's just kind of insane. Overnight VPOC. Look, market opens, dumps. Next time, overnight VPOC right here. Actually, I'm not even showing you the direct. I don't know why I'm not writing on it. Right here, look at that. Market open, right here, hit it, dumped. And then yesterday, overnight VPOC, market opened, hit it, dumped. 3 times in a row. 3 times in a row. Crazy. All right. So let's look at yesterday real quick. So yesterday, remember, opened up, hit that overnight VPOC and the previous day's close, and just boom, had one chance where I pulled back, and then it dumped one last time, and that was all she wrote. And then it just kind of moseyed its way back. Okay, so all right, let's talk about what we're seeing now and what levels we need to pay attention to. Remember, this was resistance yesterday, right here. It's resistance again. Okay, so you got a supply zone right in here. Okay, this right here where the market couldn't get over yesterday has been resistance again. Okay, so look at these overnight sessions, highs here, lows here, overnight. I mean yesterday's highs, yesterday's lows. Okay, we did very well, could balance off down here, right? Move this most traded price of the week down here to 6,000. Okay, so we're inside yesterday's session, and we're 100% net long, and we're at the top. Okay, so why I mention that is, people are long from here, right? Then long again, and you're at the top of the overnight session. So if an environment that you're selling rips, this looks kind of tasty for a short. Now I think we're not going to get some outsized move today before NVDA. Okay, I feel like we might be range bound today because of NVIDIA. Okay, so we have a supplier. So that's one thing, that 100% net long, right? And I'm just looking at some other levels here. Yes, I think it's all going to be about the overnight session today. So if you look at, this was yesterday's close, and you have the most traded price of yesterday right here. Bulls want to defend that. You got a demand zone here. Bears want to break that, right? This could be the playground today. And then you have this supply zone with the overnight high and yesterday's highs, right? I believe this will be the playground today. I don't think anybody. Now, whenever you don't want a bag hold, there always can be an outsized move that gets bought up. That gets sold into. Because people don't want to hold the bag with those earnings coming out, right? So that always can happen too. All right. So I think we're ready for some scenarios here. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. All right. So here we go. Let's mark this off. This demand. We'll share the price of yesterday. So this spans from, let's say, 59.80 to like 59. What is that? Hold on. 59.70. Okay. Bulls want to defend there. Okay. And then you have this confluence high here. Yesterday's highs and the overnight highs and supply. All right. You do have a high volume node here, but it's kind of like in the middle. So I don't think it's going to be as much of a factor. Okay, so obviously pretty easy, right? And you have demand right here. So let's extend this out. You have demand right here. Okay, this can actually maybe be a factor, possibly. All right, let me get rid of this single print here. That is no longer applies. Okay, So let's talk about it. All right. So what we can do is we can push up, right? Push up, try to do this, come back down. You can hit this demand, and then I think you can get a little move, maybe to 60-30, or we drop down, hit the overnight lows, touch yesterday's most traded price, get some, like the market's not that weak, and we kind of like just push up also and see if we can come back here. And then eventually, I think you might come back to here for NVIDIA. That's about all I'm looking for on the long side. On the short side, remember, 100% net long. Everybody's long from those lows, right? It's a little tiny bit overextended with longs that can lead to a correction. All right, now look, let's draw this most traded price of the overnight, which has been a magnificent short opportunities, 3 sessions in a row that I wish I was telling you, oh, that's my setup overnight VPOC, but it hasn't been because it just happened so fast, right? Now, what could happen here? Let's say we even pull back into this demand zone. Oh, let's put our levels up here, right? Okay. Let's say we pull back into this demand zone and then we come up into here. And let's say we just pierce. Let's we just pierce the previous day's highs, but we're in supply. You do a lower high, lower high. Now, if you come through 59.98, you should get selling. Everybody's long overnight. You're going to test this area, right? You're going to test the 59.77 area to 59.70 area. Now, like I said, NVIDIA's earnings are coming, but if they're not, like let's say if we get the extended move before it, right? You could break this, and I don't think you go much farther than this. I could be wrong, but let's say we do this. I think once the market like gets closer to the close, I think we bounce back up. But that's still a possibility. Now, do we just take out yesterday's lows? I would be highly unlikely, but it could happen. Maybe we even came the extreme touched yesterday's lows, and I think that's the bounce, and you wait for Nvidia. Okay, that's about all I'm probably interested in for that. Moving on to the Nasdaq. Here's your Nasdaq. All right, let's open this up a little bit. That's a huge weekly profile. It's a monster. Okay, the most traded price, you believe it has not moved down yet. Unbelievable. That's pretty significant there. I mean, it should because it's rolling. It's all the way up here still. 221. It should move down. See, in the 24 hours it has. It should move down today. So let's look at where we're at. So here you got yesterday's highs, yesterday's lows, right? And then you have the session, overnight session inside yesterday, right? So it's actually more compact inside yesterday than the ES is. The ES is kind of more towards the highs of yesterday. Okay. Now, if we're talking about profile, this has a very bullish imbalance to it. So if you look here, look at this. It has no excess to the top, and the most traded price is here. So as far as a just straight off volume profile, okay, I would expect this to get corrected, which would probably land it somewhere in that supply zone. Okay, just an incomplete profile. It doesn't mean it has to, but eventually you'll get higher prices. All right, but levels that stand out to me already, okay, right here, right there. Why is this significant, right? The close from yesterday. It's the most traded price from yesterday, okay? It's the overnight low. Now, we are 100% net long also here, but we're not at the top of the range like you were in ES, okay? So this part right here, bulls need to defend this area, all right? Around, I think that's like 211.79. Okay, bulls need to step up there, big time. Okay, now you have a little supply zone here, but like I said, this looks like it wants to come up, right? So this area has supply. Okay, week to date VWAP here. So right here, yesterday's highs. Okay, so this is going to be kind of the playground for today. All right, just trying to see if I see any other levels. No. Now, one other thing to note is there is single prints from yesterday because we opened here and drove. Not a lot of support. You see how thin the volume is here? All right, that's why I think maybe this move can happen as well. Okay, so let's get into scenarios here. All right, so we're going to start with the bear. Okay, so we know we have supply here. We know we have yesterday's highs here in supply week to VWAP, and we know bulls need to defend this area. Okay, so what could happen? All right, we're 100% net long. People are long from the lows here, right? I think a little correction could happen right before this move happens. But we're talking about the bear case, so let's talk about that. Let's say we open and we push up into the supply, right? Well, then sellers step in, lower high, lower high. You go through where the most traded price of the overnight, 212.76. You're definitely going to go down and test this area. Remember this confluence low, overnight low, close from yesterday, most traded price from yesterday, right? Most traded price, right? So you could definitely rip through this. It should cause some selling. Then there is demand that we almost used up all yesterday, right? And I think the same thing might happen. Get close to the close, you start working yourself up. People don't want to hold the bag in NVIDIA earnings. Okay? Like I said, that would shock me if we broke these lows before NVIDIA. That would shock me. All right? Now, as far as the long side, I do think we have a decent setup here. Because you know bulls want to defend this demand and this confluence low. Then you know we have an incomplete profile right here. And we have single prints right here. Not a lot of volume here. Not a lot of volume. So it wouldn't be hard to push up into here. Okay, we have these single prints. All right, so what I think could happen is you can get one of these moves too. Push up, try to come up here, sell off just like before, come back into this area, lower high, lower high. That makes us go up here and maybe touch 214.53. Like I said, to the upside, I don't think we go crazy. Are we going to go all the way back to the most traded price of the month at 216? I would not think so. But could it be possible? Yes. And then maybe we dump because of NVIDIA. All right. I think that's what all I'm really looking for today. That's all I'm looking for. So that would be it today. Hopefully you smash that like button. That'd be much appreciated. All right. Now, every day I do this in the mornings. Give you the scoop. Give you the down low. Give you the story. Give you the leaders and the laggards, the news, the economic calendar, long and short trade scenarios. Just hopefully you enjoy, subscribe, set that alert, okay? And of course, I still owe a video to you guys, and I will post that. If I post it, it will go on YouTube Shorts, also X at Gonzo719, as well as TikTok, Gonzo719 Trader. And of course, today I'm going to try, I should be able to go live on my Confluence Trading Discord server. All right, join it. The links at the link is on my YouTube homepage. Okay, so come join and let's just analyze. See how I analyze the markets. Right, I'm pretty much never wrong on what I believe is going to happen. That doesn't mean you make money on that all the time. but pretty much the markets very rarely ever surprise me without a catalyst. So it's all about confluence, obviously, hence the name Confluence Trading. It's all about the story. You have NVDA earnings, and we've been selling off. So join me, but remember, no trades to trade. Stay patient, and if you join me in the server, join me in the server. If not, I'll see you guys tomorrow.